Good morning, Bucknutters. Welcome to the Bucknuts Morning 5 here on Friday, October 13th, 2017. I am Dave Biddle, and I'm very happy to be joined by Jonah Booker. Friday the 13th. Hey, let's start with the Trevon Grimes situation, J-Book. I mean, are you buying that? And we all know he's back home in Florida now, and he's going to sit out the rest of the semester. And, you know, our buddy Jeremy Birmingham reported a few nights ago that he's going to re-enroll in January. I mean, are you buying that he is really going to re-enroll in January, Trevon Grimes?
I am. I think he'll be back. Ohio State is where he wanted to be. It's unfortunate that he had the family situation, so hopefully everything works out the best for him. You have posted on the front row where he took to Instagram and you know, kind of put out a picture of him in the Ohio State uniform and hinting that he'll be back. I would look at the situation that if Urban is willing to travel that far to be with him, you would have to think that he's going to be back with the program. Obviously, the coach thinks very highly of him and his family to spend time out of his game week to go and be with his family and Grimes. So I think just the actions of the Ohio State football coach and Grimes' action on social media leads me to believe that he'll be a Buckeye again come January.
Looking at the right guard spot, Urban and the rest of the staff, they've been non-committal about who's going to be the starter this Saturday, tomorrow night against Nebraska. Do you think it's going to be Matt Burrell? And if not, who do you think it's going to be?
I think it'll be Matt Burrell. The reason I believe that is post-game against Rutgers, Billy Price, he had dropped a nugget. With the Rutgers, or the last game, season's flying by so fast. Maryland, sorry.
Yep.
But Billy Price, he had dropped the comment that Burrell had played really well, they thought. So I think he's going to get his first crack at it. Ohio State had come out this week and said that they have an idea who the starter is going to be, and that was pretty much at midweek earlier in the week. So there's not a lot of time in between that game to when they said they had an indication who the starter was going to be to really make a legitimate position battle. So I think it's going to be Burrell against Nebraska. Let's see how he does. If he performs at a high level, I think he has the opportunity to hold on to that position. If he goes in there and he stinks up the joint, I think it could open the door for some of those other guys.
J-Book, all kinds of good news at defensive tackle for the Buckeyes, and I think they need, a little bit of extra beef there, and they need everybody to be healthy. On the extra beef side, Mike Hill coming back from suspension. Who knows how much he's going to play tomorrow night, but the fact of the matter is he's now eligible after a 6-game suspension, and I'm just glad that he's back with enough time to get ready for Penn State. So getting Mike Hill back, I mean, it's like I keep making this analogy. It's like making like a mid-season trade. If you could do something like that in college football, which obviously you can. I mean, getting a guy that was a starter last year and played well, fifth-year senior back, with a unit that could use a 305-pound kid in there. And then Dre'Mont Jones, I thought he might be out to the Penn State game. He had the stitches in his leg. He's going to be ready for Nebraska, it sounds like, tomorrow night. So just, comment on the Mike Hill and Dre'Mont Jones situations.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head in regards to Mike Hill being back for the Penn State game. It's big time for this defense. I was a little worried there. They were playing Jalen Holmes and Tyquan Lewis inside. That's not going to get it done against a stud running back in Saquon Barkley. So to be able to get both of those guys back, having a game under their belt against Nebraska, and then going into the bye week so both guys can get their legs underneath of them before Penn State, that's big time right there. The defensive line, they've been playing pretty good as of lately without, those big guys inside. So having them back is just going to really boost it. It's going to allow Jalen Holmes to kick back outside. Same thing with Tyquan Lewis. So just the thing with Mike Hill is I want to see that guy coming in playing with his hair on fire. You lost half your senior season. Come in with a vengeance. Come in with a chip on your shoulder and just blow people up. You have limited games left in your senior year to really showcase the NFL. So there's no reason why he shouldn't come in with a sense of urgency.
I read on Twitter this week, on your Twitter feed, and everybody who listens to this show knows J-Book's a great follow on Twitter, at JBook37. Jim Harbaugh skipped his call-in show this week, just not only didn't take calls, just didn't appear on the show. Is that correct? And had Don Brown appear instead?
Yeah, it was pure entertainment. I wanted to get a feel for what the guys up north are talking about after that devastating Michigan State loss. And the locals, I mean, they were absolutely just unloading on Harbaugh, especially the Valenti showing, I think it was 97-1, the ticket out of Detroit. And Jim Harbaugh, same as Urban Meyer, has his typical 1-hour segment where he does his radio show, and the guys, they were the promotional team for 97.1. They were essentially had the promos already queued up for the day, telling listeners, hey, Jim Harbaugh call-in show, make sure you guys tune in. Well, lo and behold, Harbaugh pulls a no-show and sends out his defensive coordinator, Don Brown, out to cover for him to take the bullets. I mean, they never really indicated that something was wrong. There was a reason why he canceled. No, they were completely ripping into Harbaugh for pulling a no-show a couple of days after the Michigan State loss. And a lot of people, callers, they were calling in complaining, telling them it's false advertisement, running a promo, telling them to tune in to Jim Harbaugh when he didn't even show up. So I thought that was pretty hilarious as a Ohio State guy, thinking that, hey, the coach is being paid $9 million and decides to pull a no-show from his own show after he gets his butt whooped by Michigan State, and the locals are crying up there because he's struggling to beat his rivals.
Yeah, that's hilarious and sad, and, equal parts of both. What I'm really surprised about is that's not getting more national play. I'm surprised. Other than you, I don't think anybody's really talked about that. Now we're talking about it now thanks to you. I'm surprised this isn't more of a national story. Not that it's like that big of a deal, but I mean, what a cowardice move.
Yeah, it's pretty Bush League. And the thing is if there was a situation where he couldn't make it for, a number of reasons. Obviously, this is the station who hosts his show. So if he couldn't make it, they would have told their listeners and their viewers, like, hey, Coach isn't going to make it because of X, Y, Z. No, that's not the case. They were running the promos telling the Michigan faithful, hey, listen to the show so you can hear Coach, talk about the loss against Michigan State and answer the tough questions from the media. A lot of people up north, they're ticked off about that offense at Michigan State because they're essentially paying Harbaugh $9 million, who's supposed to be a quarterback guru, and the quarterback play has been abysmal. They're paying Pep Hamilton, their offensive coordinator from Indianapolis Colts, another $1 million. And then they have another passing game coordinator that they're paying $1 million. So you're paying $11 million to that offensive staff to perform, just abysmal against Michigan State. They're essentially paying $1 million per point that game against Michigan State, and the guy just pulls an absolute no-show and doesn't want to take the tough questions from the local media, which is, I find it hilarious because anytime he takes a loss, he kind of goes into the shell with the local media, and those guys are starting to get fed up with it to the fact that, hey, they got sick of their own viewers calling them out for running a promo, and they say, hey, blame your own coach for not showing up for the show. Yes, the morning crew who puts the promos together could have, edited by the time the evening crew came along. But the fact of the matter is Harbaugh didn't show for his own call-in show. Those
who no show will be 8-4. Let's move on to tomorrow night. Brass Tacks, Ohio State at Nebraska, 7:30 p.m. Lincoln, Nebraska, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, I should say, 6:30 local time. Buckeyes favored by 24 points in this one, J-Book. Anything's possible in football, but do you expect Nebraska to give any type of threat to Ohio State tomorrow night?
I'm looking at this game as Ohio State is rolling in to Lincoln, Nebraska with the big Mike Riley hammer in their back pocket. Essentially, Mike Riley is dead man walking. He's about to be kicked out of there. The athletic director, he's already been booted. And Nebraska, it almost looks like they're on the verge of quitting right now. So I think Ohio State is going to go in there and deliver that death blow. The Buckeyes are starting to catch their stride. They're playing with a chip on their shoulder. And I think it's a situation where you have a team that is fragile mentally in Nebraska. They're on the verge of quitting, which to me it smells a recipe for disaster for the Huskers. I like Ohio State laying the wood to these guys. 44-10 Buckeyes covering that spread.
I like it. Great stuff as always from Jonah Booker. You can read J-Book stuff on Bucknuts. His column is Outside Columbus. He's all over the front row message board. As I mentioned earlier, you can catch him on Twitter at JBook37. So thank you very much to Jonah Booker, and thank you very much to all the listeners out there for tuning into the show. I appreciate it. Hope you have a great day and a great weekend. Let's hear that Buckeye swag, Dusty and Band and Land.